Europe at a crossroads, rising rhetoric, frozen assets, and a deepening divide. Europe is entering a decisive moment. As the war in Ukraine grinds on, sharp disagreements are emerging inside NATO and the European Union, not on whether peace is desirable, but on how security should be guaranteed, and at what cost. From warnings of a possible future war with Russia to disputes over billions of dollars in frozen assets, leaders across the continent are openly challenging each other's positions. Two recent developments, one involving NATO's top leadership and another centred on EU financial policy, highlight the growing fractures shaping Europe's political and security landscape. Tensions rose sharply after NATO's Secretary-General Mark Rutte warned that Russia could be in a position to use military force against NATO countries within the next 5 years. Speaking publicly, Rutte urged alliance members to increase defence spending rapidly, stating that NATO must prepare for what he described as a potential future threat. The remarks immediately drew strong criticism from Hungary, one of NATO's own members. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó dismissed Rutte's comments as reckless and destabilizing. In a public statement, Szijjártó accused the NATO chief of escalating fear and uncertainty across Europe by making speculative claims about a future conflict. According to Szijjártó, such statements risk inflaming tensions rather than strengthening security. He emphasized that NATO already exists to defend its members and argued that Europe's safety does not depend on continued warfare in Ukraine. Hungary formally rejected Rutte's remarks, stating that they do not reflect Budapest's position as a NATO member. Szijjártó also framed the comments within a larger political context, suggesting that certain voices in Brussels are distancing themselves from ongoing diplomatic efforts aimed at ending the conflict. He accused NATO leadership of undermining peace initiatives by reinforcing a confrontational narrative. Hungary has consistently maintained that increased arms deliveries to Ukraine prolong the war rather than resolve it. Budapest has repeatedly called for negotiations between Moscow and Kiev and has criticized sanctions on Russia as harmful to the European economy. Russia, for its part, has rejected claims that it plans to attack NATO. Russian officials have labelled such warnings as baseless and have argued that the alliance is using the idea of a future Russian threat to justify expanded militarization and defense spending. Moscow has repeatedly stated that NATO's eastward expansion and increased